So here's a first world problem for you. You just got your farm up. You start running it and all your drops are coming in and you're so excited because now you've got drops to start building stuff with. You can't access the items right away because you used all shulker loaders for your storage. You have to wait until this gets all the way filled up before it's actually going to spit out a box to you. There has to be a better way. Well, what if we could do both at once? Surely that's going to be nice and compact. Right? Right? So let's spend 15 minutes talking about this. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another vid. This time it is a rarity for me. We're doing some storage tech, which is not my forte. However, what I appear to be great at is super niche, never really probably gonna ever need it, but would be cool to have ideas. So like I was saying, the thing with the shulker box loader is, you got to wait until the shulker box gets full and then it gets broken in order to be able to access it, unless you have the server setting enabled to be able to access shulker boxes while they have something on top of them. Most servers don't, so that's not a thing. You could come up here and grab some out of the hopper and all that, but wouldn't it be nice to have a system where we could have like shulker boxes in one spot and loose items in another, or maybe to have the shulker box displaying it right next to it so that we could get all our loose items. Then once we got enough, then we start filling up our shulker boxes. Well, say no more. It's not that compact. So before we get into explaining this, as always, world download is going to be down in the video description where you can download and take schematics for yourself. Check this out, mess around with it, see if you like it, whatever you want to do there. But what this is this is a slice. This is a one wide tileable slice. I just have these extras on here so that if you take a schematic, you can see where the redstone is going to bleed over, because we do need to have it turned in these directions. But this is a one wide tileable slice that will first fill up these chests here with loose items. So these chests here would be loose items, and then it's going to start filling up a shulker box loader, which will fill in these double chests here, and then display it right underneath. So we can have a shulker box display. We can also have our loose items there. When we break it, we get a new one, all that good kind of stuff. And then if we start emptying this out, then we're going to actually enable this to start letting items back in. So then once again, these will start filling up, and then when we're full, we'll switch back to our shulker loader. Now again, why do this? It was a vanity project for myself. I thought of, what? I want this because I've had it come up a few times of this, like, wait, do I have to wait for the shulker box to fill up before I get any items out? Hey, super first world, but this was kind of fun to do. So the whole basis of it is, first of all, it is filtered. So we have our normal 41 style filter items. This right here is where the real magic happens. So if you didn't know, hoppers have priorities, right? So they first pull and then they push. So in the same tick, hoppers are looking to see if they can pull anything, and then next they process to see if they can push anything. So for example, this hopper right here, it wants to pull from here, and then it's, once all the hoppers are done processing their pulls, then it's going to try and push into here. But there's another hopper underneath it that wants to pull from this hopper. So if an item comes down into here, it first gets sucked into this hopper before it can go this way, unless this got backed up. Now, rather than having a bunch of extra items that stack up, what we have right here is we have this comparator. So we have these items, chests that fill up with items. But as soon as these hoppers and these chests right here are full, and we get at least one item into this dropper right here, this could be a barrel. We're just using droppers because less inventory slots for hoppers to check. This comparator turns on and then turns off a series of torches to turn this on. And then this block gets locked right here. So that then locks this hopper. So now these hoppers are the only ones that back up with some items. And we can see now this backs up completely. So now this can't pull anything. So now this has a chance to push it over here to where it can start going into the shulker box loader. And then what happens when those start getting full, it comes down through this system. It goes right into here. We sense that we get our first box coming out so that we know to dispense it. And it dispenses right here on top of an observer. And that way, whenever we break the shulker box, if you open it, technically the observers are going to go off. So you get some extra clicks if you don't have something to control your dispenser sounds, but I do. And then once we break it, it's going to know to spit out another one because it's going to send an observer signal and spit out that next one. You can see here, once it locks, I actually added this in. You don't need to do this lamp, but this lamp then shows if you didn't have any boxes yet, you could see that you've switched over to box loading. You could kind of assume by looking at these 3 chests and seeing that they're full, but we have a nice little indicator here. And then we have 2 spots that we can, display what the slice is. You can do it right here. This doesn't have to be a stair except for these cases like, grass or nylium, things that are going to random tick if they're on top of a solid block. And we also have overflow protection. So the thing with shulker box loaders is you want to make sure you have overflow protection because otherwise it's just going to keep filling boxes and they're going to sit on top of a full hopper and then despawn. Not only are you going to lose shulker boxes, you're going to lose items. No one wants that. So once this then fills up to this point here, we then get a signal out here that sends it up the torch tower and then locks this filter completely. So this gets locked. So even if I fill that up completely, it's just going to stay. It's not going to take any other items out. So this slice is not going to take in any items anymore. Now I'm going to review some uses for this, but if you come into the world download, this one right here under the arrow, this is the slice that's been set up to take a schematic from. This is the hopper line that you would want to connect up to get your shulker box loader filled up with shulker boxes, empty shulker boxes. And what kind of light blocks you use are going to be up to you. You just want to make sure that if you replace these with some, don't replace these with like sea lanterns directly here. Because problem is then you're going to have, no signal going through because they don't actually conduct signal. So frog lights do conduct signal. Sea lanterns, glowstone don't. So you can replace this with solid blocks and torches. That's also fine. You shove torches on the side of there. I liked putting in the frog lights here because what you're actually going to get is some ambient bleed light. And we'll see that once we look at a couple of hauls for this. So in the world download, again, this is the slice to take underneath the arrow right here if you want to take a schematic. Here I have a couple examples of this is a slice that is just filled up on its loose item side and is now going to start with its shulker box loading. And this is a slice that is completely full up that is locked up with overflow protection. If you go just a little bit over from this, this is my setup of a 3-wide tileable 3x speed shulker loader. Basically it's 1-wide tileable filter slices. And then they all just feed into a single shulker loader by having 1 go on top and 2 on the sides. That's, because shulkers can take in items at any speed. So we have 3 hoppers feeding it for 3 times hopper speed. Obviously, you need to have items coming in at 3 times hopper speed in order to make that effective, but you can use a couple slices still. But right here next to it, this is a nice system that is a hybrid. So if you want to start getting both loose items and filling up your shulker boxes, and when your loose items are full, be able to switch over to fully shulker boxes. This is just that setup here. As you can see, we just have these side ones on this side and this side just going straight into the shulker box. And then in the center is still that switch system with the push-pull priority. And then if, like I said, you really don't care, there are tons of shulker box loaders out there. This one is mine. This is nice and compact, little flat one. There are ones that are 1-wide tileable, but yeah, you can grab this one if you like it too. Last thing to note before I get into this is technically this is not slice preserving. So there is a slight chance that when this box gets broken, it could land on the slice next to it just barely and have it get picked up there, in which case it would display the box kind of off to the side on the wrong side there. It's rare that it happens. I think it's maybe like 1 in 1,000, but it still can happen. If you're doing this system right here, you only have a shulker box filler every 3 slices. So in this way, we can make sure that it doesn't move off to the side. So this one would be slice preserving, as would this one right here. And this is obviously not tileable. This wasn't made to be tileable. This was made to be flat. So it's not slice preserving because it's not slices, but it's also slice preserving if it was a slice ? Okay, so enough babbling about how it works. I know, no one comes to this channel to find out how things work in Minecraft, right? You come here strictly for all the block-by-block tutorials that I provide. Why did I actually do this in the first place? Well, I just wanted to have a different kind of storage slice for a storage that I was running. I usually just, have a haul for bulk, have a haul for chest slices, and then, maybe a miss on the end with some overflow. But I wanted to have a good section that was just a mix of both loose items and bulk. Because again, in a storage system, the thing with bulk storage hauls is you don't get any in there until you actually start breaking shulker boxes. So, maybe you just want to have some loose items to grab out and start some crafting with. This is, once again, a complete vanity project. That being said, let's look at some examples of how this would look in a hall situation. So right here is one where you'd have, 3 halls just kind of contiguous from each other, running parallel. You can see you can have a display on top and bottom or just bottom, however you want to run your display. This is just an example of the deco. Deco is not my strong suit, so deco the roof however you like. But you can see, you can tell when a Shulker box is popped out that you've got some that are available. These lamps would then turn on when it's actually switched over to a new version of the slice, i.e. the Shulker box loading. And like I was talking about with those light sources, let me turn off my gamma override, and you can kind of see we kind of get some of that light bleed from that frog light that's in there, so we can see a little bit better on our chest hall. Now, in this example here, no particular reason why I spread these out, but these could be touching, so the back sides of these won't affect each other. So this block right here could be touching this block right here. That's fine. Here's an example of kind of like a T-shaped version of it, where you'd put a wraps Mooney Miss in here, and then you just have your 3 separate halls. More realistically, you would probably do like maybe one of these is a bulk, one of these is a chest, and then one of these is the hybrid. Or there are some people that just like to have the big giant room of their filtered items for their storage. And so here's an example of how that would look. This would drive me nuts. But each to their own. It's your own block game. Play how you want. But like I said, having everything dependent on that, this is one item type per slice. So if you want to have every item in the game, you could have like 900 slices of this. Now you can see on the top left there, my MSPT is not that bad, even though I have multiple slices of this loaded up with all the unlocked hoppers and the Shulker boxes and the chests. One thing to note though is I do have a mod called Enhanced Block Entities installed. That's why you may have noticed earlier in the video, if I open the Shulker box, once it's closing, you can kind of see there's still that normal Shulker box looking thing there. And if I open a chest as it closes, you can see the lid is both closed and open. It's not Schrodinger's boxes. This is a mod for Java called Enhanced Block Entities that all it does is it makes the rendering on the game much simpler on these block entities like chests and Shulker boxes and that type of thing. So you can see my MSPT with multiple of these loaded up, and there's even one behind me that we haven't reviewed yet. We're only at 7.3 MSPT. So yes, I did not include any hopper locking. There is some room to add in some hopper locking. You could add in a line to lock this hopper and this hopper, or run redstone to this, lock those hoppers. You can lock this hopper and that hopper in the back. You could lock up... No, I don't know if you could lock up this hopper because of this right here, unless you just extended this a little further out the back. But I highly recommend checking out the Enhanced Block Entities mod, because you can see, even with all this loaded and the main storage that we're about to look at loaded, the MSPT is nice and low. So what was I actually planning to build with that? That would be this main storage that I want to build in my hardcore world. So I'm going to have 4 halls of 50 mirrored slices, so 100 individual item types per hall here. And then I have my standard bulk storage one here that was in the Redux Mega Storage video. I'm also going to include that in here. So this is just purely bulk storage. And then another couple of these on the side here, again, with that same layout of these are all loose item chests, and then we have the Shulker box display. So I have my input here. You put in either your loose items or your Shulker boxes. It sorts out loose items and Shulker boxes, empties them into the water stream. We batch them up, and then we're just sending it all through the different halls in these water streams here. We have plenty of time before the item despawns until it reaches here, because like I said, this is only one item type per slice. So even with 4 of these halls with 100 item types each, that's 400 item types. And in a bulk storage, that's 500. There's still more item types in the game to sort. So that's why we rely on wraps. So I'll be adding on the Mooney Miss V5 by Rapscallion. I'll try to remember to include a link down in the description below. If I don't, remind me about that. Definitely recommend checking this out. He made it a bunch easier to build. He and Mooney worked on this together. It has the same principle where it only takes 2 of the filter items per slice in the chest. So all of these item types right here can filter into the same slice of chests right here. And I'm going to include some modules that things like, all the different variants of copper, the different variants of amethyst and all that are, things that are not highly farmable, are things that probably wouldn't do well in one of these, because why bother having all this extra stuff on there when it's just going to be a loose item anyways. And I might not even have enough to really justify a single loose item slice. So we'll put it in the Wraps Moonimus. Anything that doesn't find a slot in there is going to get spat out and go under. I'm going to plan some sort of grand yellow entrance here. Of course, black and yellow. Why? Of course. So yeah, anything left over that is going to head into an unstackable filter by Command Leo. Definitely check that out. All these item types can be filtered into their own set of chests. So armor, mine carts, lava buckets, water buckets, boats, shears, flint and steel, and water bottles / potions can all get filtered out with this. Very compact, very tiny. I'll try and include a link down to that in the video description, but you do need to be a part of the Storage Tech Discord in order to get that. And then obviously just some overflow designed by placing chests. It's not a person. It's just chests with hoppers behind it. And then, of course, good old long delay clock by El Mango, where this would then trigger your chunk loader, because you definitely want to chunk load this because you're going to have items through the water stream. Even if you change over to hoppers, shulker boxes are entities, so got to make sure it's all perfectly chunk loaded. That's going to be fun. So do I recommend this storage hall right behind me? Maybe. I mean, depends on what you like. If you like the idea of having most of your stuff being both a shulker loader and a loose item display slice, then sure, by all means, you can grab a schematic of this. This is operating as is. Just need to make sure you do your chunk loaders. Even comes complimentary with my name on the carpet. But I think what this will be most useful in is just scenarios where you have a farm that you're starting up. And again, you know at some point you're going to be doing shulker loading, but you want to start out just by having some loose items. Maybe you need to start doing some crafting, like it's a guardian farm or something like that. And you want to start getting those out so you can start getting your sea lanterns. But then after that, you're going to AFK it into shulker loaders. This will work. Is it any functionally better than this? It's yellower. That's going to be it. Again, world download will be down in the video description. We're going to end up right here by this arrow so you can know which one is to grab your schematic off of. And there's the base empty version. So it goes with kind of last week's 3 Levels of Kelp video, how we ended there of, does everything need to be the exact perfect, most efficient, most compact? Like, do I need to shrink this down by 1 block this way in order for it to be somewhat decent? For my purposes, no. Maybe on a mass scale, maybe this doesn't get shared and become the new meta. I sincerely doubt it will be a meta. But I had fun doing it, and I want to do these videos to encourage you all to have fun doing the stuff in your game. My goal is to give you the information that you need in order to not be blocked from having fun. And as always, remember, if you're not okay right now, it's okay not to be okay. Keep your chin up. Things will get better, I promise you. But in the meantime, it's okay not to be okay. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.